Hello, welcome back to PEI Makeup Artist, and today's video is a very important video. It's probably, it's kind of like a Makeup 101 lesson. And what I'm talking about today is how to find the perfect foundation for you. One of the most requested videos or most asked questions that I get is, what kind of foundation should I buy? And that answer is a really tricky one because there's no one best foundation for everyone. It is 100% individual. It depends on so many different things that there isn't just one great foundation. What's maybe great for me or what's great for another beauty YouTuber may be terrible for you and your skin type. So today, this video, it's such an important video. You are going to find out how to purchase the best foundation for you. Now, it takes a little bit of research, and there's 3 main questions that you have to answer yourself before you even step into a beauty department. The very first question that you need to ask yourself is, what kind of skin type do I have? The different skin types that you could have, there's dry skin, and you can determine if you have dry skin if after washing your face, if your skin feels tight or itchy, or if even you can see any dry flaky spots on your face, then chances are you have dry skin. If you feel really oily and greasy all day long and shiny and you always feel like you need to powder or blot your face off because of the shine, then chances are you have oily skin. If you don't have either of those problems, then congratulations, you have normal skin, and that is wonderful because you don't have to worry about a lot of the other things that dry and oily skin people have to worry about. Now, if your skin for the most part feels normal, however you have shininess across your forehead, down your nose, on your chin, and even sometimes a little bit on the cheekbones, then you have combination skin. So you need to determine that thing first, what kind of skin type you have. The second thing that you need to do is you need to determine what kind of coverage you want. I can tell you what kind of coverage you should have, but you may not like what I tell you. You need to figure out what your lifestyle is, what you feel most comfortable in. Where in the spectrum of coverage do you fall? Do you fall in the category of sheer or somewhere towards the full coverage? There's foundations out there in the market that cover this whole broad spectrum from the sheerest of sheer to the fullest of full coverage. So you need to figure out first, where are you in that spectrum? Do you want very sheer, no makeup look, or do you want full coverage? So you need to determine that. Then the third thing that you need to determine is, what kind of formula of foundation should I be using? And that question is actually answered by your previous 2 questions that we just answered. So you need to determine what kind of formula you're going to use is based off of what your skin type is and what kind of coverage that you want. So those 2 things are going to determine what kind of formula you have, because there's a lot of formulas out there. So the first formula that I'm going to talk to you about are tinted moisturizers. Probably the most famous tinted moisturizer out there is Laura Mercier's tinted moisturizer. I have here the Makeup Forever Face and Body Foundation, which is very similar to a tinted moisturizer in the fact of that it's very sheer. So tinted moisturizers tend to be great for people with normal to dry skin. And why that is because they have built-in moisturizers. So if you have oily skin and you're adding a moisturizer in with your foundation, it may be too much for your skin, and it may cause your skin to be oilier or even cause breakouts, and you don't want that. However, there's always a however with makeup. You can find formulas, you can find tinted moisturizer formulas that do not have any oils added into the product. So that may be good for people with oily skin. So you kind of have to read labels, and you have to be your own little investigator and research a lot into the products, because foundation is expensive and it's an investment. So you want to make sure that you're making the right decision. Now, the second type of formula would be liquid foundation. Something like what I use is the Makeup Forever HD foundation. Liquid foundation is kind of the all-purpose foundation. It is good for all skin types, and you can get it in moisturizing type of formulas, or you can get it in oil-free type of formulas. You can also, there's so many different liquid foundations out there. You can get foundations that have silicone in it. You can get foundations without silicone in it. You can find foundations from pretty sheer all the way to full coverage. And you need to figure out, I guess, if you do choose a liquid foundation, where in that coverage spectrum do you want to be? Another example of the liquid foundations is the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Plus. So just to compare the Matte Velvet Plus to the HD foundation, both are liquid foundations, both are beautiful foundations. However, the HD foundation in the spectrum of coverage is probably somewhere in the middle, whereas the Matte Velvet Plus is more on the full coverage side. So depending on where you like your coverage would determine whether or not you purchase the HD foundation or the Matte Velvet Plus foundation. Now another type of foundation formula, would be cream foundations. So Bobbi Brown actually makes some incredible cream foundations. Cream foundations tend to fall in the medium to full coverage spectrum in the whole coverage range. And cream foundations tend to be best for people with normal to dry skin, just because it's a cream based, so it's more moisturizing and creamy than other formulas, so it's best for that type of skin type versus an oily skinned person. An oily skinned person would probably feel like a cream foundation is way too heavy, and they wouldn't feel comfortable with that. And the last type of foundation formula that we're going to talk about today is mineral makeup. Mineral makeup tends to be a powder type of makeup, and it can, depending on how much you apply, it can go from sheer to full coverage. So you can start off sheer, and it's buildable basically is what I'm trying to say. So you can make it sheer, or you could make it medium to full coverage if you wanted to. Mineral makeup is best suited for people with oily skin. If you are normal to dry skinned, or if you're a little bit older, mineral makeup is a nightmare for you, because it's going to make your skin look aged and old and too powdery looking. However, if you have oily skin, mineral makeup is going to make your skin look beautiful, because it takes away that shininess that you're battling. So that basically explains the different formulas that are available out in the marketplace. Now, once you determine the type of skin that you have, what kind of coverage you have, and what kind of formula you're looking for, you've narrowed it down quite specifically, and that will help you when you go to a beauty store, to a beauty department, and you're hunting for a new foundation. You know exactly what you want, and instead of trying out the hundreds and thousands that are out there, you have a pretty narrow focus now on what you're looking for. So for example, if you have oily skin, and you want sheer coverage, then you should try out some mineral makeup. Or if you have dry skin and you want full coverage, then you should try out some cream foundations, or maybe even some liquid formulas. If you have normal skin, then probably a liquid foundation would be awesome for you. So there's a lot of things that you need to think about before you even walk into the store. And then once you have it narrowed down, then it's less confusing and less daunting, really, to walk into a beauty department where there's like all these displays. and you're like, oh my God, where do I go from here? And salespeople are great, but sometimes they may not know exactly what you're looking for. So if you can figure it out before you even walk in there, then that saves yourself a lot of grief and disappointment, because a lot of people buy a product that's not appropriate for them specifically. It may be great for somebody else, but it's not great for you. So doing a little bit of work beforehand is going to save you money and make you look fantastic. Now, just a few other tips about when you're buying foundation is finding the right shade for you, the right color for you. And probably one of the best tips that I can give you is to test along your jawline or even on your neck. Take a couple of shades and just kind of swipe a couple of lines with the different colors that you've selected and go out into natural daylight and take a look and see which color actually disappears on your skin that you can't even see. That color is the color that you should buy. You should never buy a shade that is too light or too dark. If you can see it, if it looks too light or if it looks too dark, then that's not your shade. It's the shade that actually you can't detect on your skin is the shade for you. So that's it. Those are my tips for finding the perfect foundation for you specifically. I hope that helped. I hope that cleared up some confusion around the topic, and I hope the next time that you're on the hunt for a new foundation that this helps you with your purchase and that you'll be happy with your next purchase. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.